You're listening to The Raw Reaction on the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
It's a Monday night tradition in your house, and your house must be very blessed if you're listening to the stylings of myself, Angry Tensai, and the one thing that I need, the one thing that I have to have, the thing that I love. I'm talking about Big Dick. You know I love Big Dick. Big Dick, how you doing tonight, buddy?
Brother, I am doing well. I am doing well tonight. In homage to this amazing evening, I actually, I believe it or not, this Raw, it did not keep my interest the entire time. And I did doze off. I'm not going to lie. I dozed off for a quick little nap. And during that nap, I had a dream.
You had a dream?
I had a dream.
A dream of what?
I had a dream of a coherent Raw, a well-put-together Raw, a well-booked Raw, in anticipation of a strongly booked Royal Rumble. I quickly awoke from that dream to find myself on Jericho's segment at the end of the show, which was a complete fucking disaster.
Jericho was everywhere tonight.
Yeah, he really was, and I don't like him going from sort of comic relief and maybe somebody put over the New Day to one of the three favorites in the Royal Rumble. It's a little bit much, not to mention his attire from this week, which, whatever. But last week he looked rather extra tacky with the suit jacket as well as the scarf tie that he had on. That had me scratching my head a little bit there.
I didn't
I
didn't mind the scarf thing because that's Jericho. But tonight he was trying to look like, I don't know what he was trying to do tonight, and I had a real problem with the fact that he came out in black jeans, black boots, and what looked like a tuxedo top. And it's not even like rocker, it's just like random. It's like he took the three most random items he could find and put them together.
And then for his highlight reel later on in the show, he came out in a black vest top and nothing more.
He's a really bad dresser, and it just doesn't work. He looks so out of place.
Yeah, I mean, I get trying to look a little bit like, okay, you gotta look like a rock star, and then you got your new tattoos, I know you're in a band, I get that, but you're trying a little too hard to be alternative, I guess. I don't know.
The first segment I had a big problem with up until the end of it, when Stephanie McMahon came out. I guess the first segment, my big problem was Roman Reigns comes out. He calls out Brock Lesnar here and now, which would be cool. I mean, that would be something we'd want to say. And instead, Chris Jericho comes out and he talks about the Royal Rumble, and he talks about how tonight, more than anything, he wants to have the three biggest players in the Royal Rumble, himself, Lesnar, and Reigns in the highlight reel to have the biggest highlight reel ever, which I'm not sure why he cares, but I digress. And then Reigns basically kind of like laughs him off, and he almost dismisses him as like a top contender. And then the League of Nations came out. Thank God they saved the segment. The League of Nations comes out, and I thought Sheamus didn't do a very good job on the mic, in my opinion, about saying how we have two Royal Rumble winners here. And, you know, like we know what it takes to win the Royal Rumble. I thought Del Rio was great when he grabbed the mic and he kind of threatened everybody there. But ultimately, Ruru, who's very fired up tonight, he wound up getting challenged by Roman Reigns right here and now. What wound up happening was then Chris Jericho said, okay, well, let's make that match happen right now. You versus Roman Reigns, and I'm going to be special guest referee. Before we even talk about the outcome of it, the match actually happens. Jericho's a special guest referee. And I have a big problem with the fact that, like, why didn't Stephanie McMahon come out right there and stop that? Like, what gives Jericho the authority to be a referee, and where did he get the referee outfit?
I don't know. I mean, this might have been planned by him beforehand. He might have thought, hey, you know what? Stephanie might be late to the building, or he might have just had the referee outfit. It could have been his undershirt for today, which he forgot to wear for the opening segment, so he decided to put it on at that point.
Well,
I don't really know. I don't know. It's sort of a mess. I don't necessarily mind the booking. I like seeing Roman Reigns going in there. He's supposed to go in as a favorite. So
why does he have the shirt though? Why does he have, like? Was he expecting Brock Lesnar to answer the challenge? Like, he didn't know. There's no way they could have known the League of Nations was coming out. So why did he have a ref shirt? Like, and what gave, like, and who? I just don't understand how he could just book a match right there. I mean, I was very confused by that.
Yeah, but you know what? Apparently, he's a big enough star where he can get away with that. Until he goes in the back, and then Stephanie pictures him out because, hey, guess what? If you want Roman Reigns, if you want Lesnar to come out, you got to pay him more money.
I'm glad that Stephanie said something backstage, because otherwise the whole segment made no sense. But it still made no sense to me. But Rusev and Reigns, I don't know. I don't think it was a very good match, and it took up like the first 40 minutes of the show, and I think that's what they were trying to do. It just wasn't that great. I mean, and then the whole thing with Jericho throwing out each League of Nations members one by one, he just came off like a real cornball.
Yeah, that was a bit tacky. And again, we didn't do the show last week, but that was one of the things I wanted to mention last week was it almost seemed like the League of Nations had disbanded, and now they suddenly have reappeared as a new and improved faction, or a relevant faction, I guess you could say.
Well, I thought the League looked fine, but I don't know. I didn't like the first segment, all in all. But it was a bad night for me because I was kind of thinking it. I mean, I thought he had a good match at against Neville at the Beast from the East Japan pay-per-view. But that's all I've seen Jericho really do great in the last year and a half. And I hate to say it, I just feel like time has passed him by. And it all goes back to the night we were on here, and Killikev ruined my vision of Sting. And I looked at Sting differently. And I kind of look at Jericho the same way now. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I have a feeling he's going to be in the Royal Rumble, but he's going to be somebody who just ends up getting knocked out of the last 5 people, but never a real threat.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I don't see him being much of a threat either. But they're giving him a lot of airtime. But regardless, Reigns gets a big win over the Ruru. It's clear to me that Del Rio is really standing out in the League of Nations, but it is what it is. Tonight we also see Del Rio and Sheamus take. If am I right about that? Del Rio and Sheamus take on. Was it Del Rio and Sheamus took on? Or was it Del Rio and Kevin Owens? No,
Owens was on the side. He was
right.
He was involved afterwards. It was shoot, that's how bad this match was.
No, it was Del Rio and Sheamus versus Ambrose and Kalisto, and they lazy booked 2 matches for Royal Rumble at the same time as a result of that match. The last man standing match between Ambrose and Kevin Owens for the IC title, and then the rubber match of Del Rio Kalisto for the US title at Royal Rumble. Now, I have to say, I felt like Kevin Owens wasn't really into commentary tonight.
Yeah, usually he's pretty good, and he's a good heel commentator. He'll rag on Byron Saxton, he'll rag on Michael Cole. He didn't seem that into it tonight, but at the same time, it seems like for the last month, he's sort of been doing commentary on Dean Ambrose matches. And basically, after the match, he just runs in and jumps him. And I think one thing to correct what you said, I think that the Ambrose and Owens match, I think it was official before tonight. And I think it was official as Owens was actually challenged by Ambrose for a last man standing match, which
Gotcha.
I think could be really good. But I think that was booked before this evening. I do believe that although we've seen it for the last 2 weeks on Raw and SmackDown, we have Del Rio and Calypso wrestling for the
Calypso.
Yeah, whatever.
Who's Calypso?
Calypso? Callisto? We have him wrestling Del Rio once again for the IC strap. In case you have not been following these last couple weeks, he won it last week on Raw, promptly decided to lose it back on SmackDown, and ended up getting pinned by Sheamus this evening, leading up to the Del Rio match versus Callisto at the Royal Rumble. And apparently they're both going to be in the Royal Rumble as well. So, booking double duty. I like it. However, I really don't see Callisto. I mean, he's a
No way.
neat little single wrestler. I thought it was sort of BS that he won it last week. I don't think that. I mean, what has he really done to earn the right to put his name in the record book for the 2-day span between Raw and SmackDown, where it settled back off of him? I don't think he really. I mean, he's a great tag team partner. I think they have a neat little tag team there. Challenge for the championship match down the road. But number one, Sin Cara's out, and number two, I think that they're just hot-shotting him when there's a lot of other people who deserve a push aside from Callisto.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see it as much of a match. I just don't I don't see Callisto winning at all. One thing about that match tonight, I thought Owens was extremely harsh, even though he wasn't that into the commentary. He was extremely harsh on Byron Saxton. One thing I was thinking about, I watched last week's Raw, and I thought this. Owens, like, kind of, he was in that last segment with Lesnar, and Lesnar kind of stiffed him, dude. Like really stiffed him. I mean, like, Owens tried to take, like, a shot at him, and Brock just, like, kind of went through it, no-sold it, decked him, and then, I mean, he Germaned him so poorly. I mean, it was, like, careless how poorly he threw Owens down. Maybe Owens is pissed about that. I don't know. Owens is one of those guys that probably would take that personally. But he just didn't seem like he was in it. I hope they deliver at the pay-per-view. I don't know. I think I see Ambrose keeping the belt, but I think I could see Owens winning it too. So I'm 50-50 on that. I think either way, I think they can't go wrong, but hopefully they just deliver a good match.
Yeah, I think this is going to be obviously the undercard match of the night. I also am hopeful of a 30-minute match. I think that these guys, they've had some matches, but I've actually liked the way they've done this. Usually I'm not a big fan of interference in matches and interference after matches, but Owens done a great job, and this was back from when he sort of debuted and like had his real start over the last summer. I almost didn't mind it because there would be a heel versus face or somewhat heel match, and he would just interfere. He'd be going like 10-15 minutes. It was a good match. You want to see the outcome for, and he'd come in and interfere with it. Not so much as to, okay, I want this person to win, but more just I'm going to just kick the shit out of this person now and ruin the match. I don't care that I'm ruining the match for everybody else, which I thought made him an even better heel. Which, like last week, he didn't necessarily do that, but he waited, I think it was Sheamus and Ambrose got counted out. They're both outside the ring pretty banged up. As soon as they got counted out, he attacked Ambrose immediately and got the better of him. So I think that they've done a good job with him, booking him as a solid heel. A badass heel, I think you definitely agree with. And I wouldn't be surprised to see him lose to Ambrose and come back and possibly win a Rumble.
Yeah. I mean, he's definitely one of the guys that you'd have to think is a favorite. I mean, maybe not to the obvious, but I mean, Owens is a major player in WWE. I kind of am with you. I could kind of see that happening too. I think he is a dark horse to win the Royal Rumble myself. So I'm not surprised you said that. I really feel like that's a good call, and I think it could happen. I don't think it's crazy. I mean, I think Owens he's got everything you need, and maybe that altercation with Lesnar during that segment was for a reason last week, I like to say.
By the way, and we didn't do a show last week. I absolutely hated just the whole pretense of that match last week from the beginning.
Yeah.
I get. Everybody faces Reigns, but then you put him in a 10-minute match to start off with Owens, and Owens is actually lose. Why don't you just say, okay, you have to wrestle Owens, and he's your main event, versus wrestling him for 10, 15 minutes until it breaks down, and it just goes to hell. I'd rather have you say, okay, you're going to wrestle just Owens, give Owens the push from it, and then have everybody else have a lumberjack match or something like that, where just all the heels run in and interfere.
They just gotta switch shit up, dude. They've been booking the same way for 15 years. It's like, do something different, do something bold. I do like the theme that they are using for Royal Rumble this year.
What's that?
Paradise by Matt Militant. Have a listen.
Make you sweat, you'll never forget it. Make me so hot, show me what I got. Make it penny strong. Y'all know what y'all want. The party non-stop. With this cash flow, y'all go slow. No show. We can get low when you say so. Drop it to the beat or take it to the club or take it to the street. That's another success. There'll be no defeats. Paradise at the top of the charts in less than a week.
And that's your theme for Royal Rumble. I think it's kind of out there, but it's bold. Did you like that song?
That was interesting. That's an interesting song. I think that what I don't like is the lead up to the Rumble. Like, they show, like, okay, here's the matches. It's like New Day versus the Usos for like the 15th time, and they have these white statue cutouts of them, which made Biggie Langston look absolutely just obese and horrible. And I'm like, why would they do this? I get for like the actual pay-per-view, but like to have every single match cast in big white blobs, it didn't really do it for me. And especially since it didn't make them like look super jacked. They make them look like Biggie was like just some really fat dude.
Greek statues, man. It's like they're mythical beings. I'm telling you, I'm a big fan of this Militant, Brody. I love this music.
Is that the guy you're talking about before the show came on?
Yes, I am. I'll give you guys a little more taste, and this is the last one. I'll give you another 15-second clip. This is called On My Radio. This has got to be his best, let me tell you. Hold on.
Right here in this very club, I'm gonna sing the club with my naughty people. That's right, here we go. Let's play on my radio, on my radio. That's what I'm gonna do. On my radio, that's what I'm gonna do.
How good is that?
Dude, that guy could be a better rapper than myself. And I fancy myself to be a somewhat good rapper.
Listening to On My Radio there by Matt Militant reminds me of myself on New Year's Eve when I drank so much. I don't really remember much. I just know I was extremely sick the next day. I have to assume that between that point of where I forgot everything and then getting sick the next day, On My Radio is kind of like sums up everything that happened in between.
Exactly. Every conversation you probably got on stage and actually sang that.
You know what I like about that song? If you guys listen to On My Radio by Matt Militant on Reverb Nation, it almost sounds like if you listen to On My Radio, and I'm not going to put more on, it's almost like by like the 3-minute mark, he gets tired. He's like so tired by the end of the song, because you hear the tone he's at, he's like exhausted by the end of the song. It's great. Anyway.
Yeah, that's I don't know. You know what? That could be the sign of a good.
I like this guy.
Good rap.
I think he's the next big thing. I do. Anyway, speaking of the next big thing, the divas. I'm confused by the Brie Bella Natalya match. Couple things. I think Brie Bella has turned. Not that I think she is, but she's turned into the biggest jobber there is. She comes out to that like Primo da 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 da. It's like a total jobber music. It sounds like club music, like just
it's almost like Emma. You expect her to start pointing her fingers everywhere.
Brie Bella's got the worst theme. It's literally like shitty club music, and the way she runs out with her hand in the air, she's just acting like somebody's about to get their ass kicked. She looks like a jobber. She acts like a jobber. She's got jobber music, and she's basically a jobber.
And she loses all the time, which sort of makes her job.
So she takes on Natalya. Now Brie Bella comes out with Fox, and Natalya comes out with Paige, who, wait a second. Paige is supposed to be like a mega deal. A mega heel. Didn't Paige just basically make that awful comment about Flairs aren't all fighters, otherwise Reed wouldn't have died without a fight? I mean, that was like the most heel thing anyone's ever said, and I was disgusted.
And now, yeah, exactly. Now, like a couple months later, it's like, okay, now she's a face.
And another thing is Paige like going through like changes. Like, why is she all of a sudden like super sexual over the last 6 months? Have you noticed that?
I don't know. Have you watched Total Divas lately?
No, I don't know. I hate Paige now. I really don't like Paige, and
I don't really get. I felt like that they were just okay. We haven't seen any of these divas in a while, so let's just put them on TV. And literally, like, I don't think we've seen any of them. I mean, maybe Brie Bella we've seen this year. I don't think we've seen Paige this year. I don't think we've seen
Brie Bella and Foxy could be released, and WWE won't miss a beat.
Now, the thing I didn't get, the one thing I caught, and I was sort of listening to this match, they said something about Natalya had a neck injury because of Tyson Kidd. Did I miss something on Total Divas or on wrestling where, like, Tyson Kidd actually injured her, or was this just?
I have no idea. I don't know much.
Yeah, I don't think he beat the shit out of her because he probably wouldn't have a job right now. But
I know I really like Natalya's ring gear.
She's sexy thick. I'll give her that much. She's a little more thick than I would like, but she's sexy thick.
Wasn't a big portion of her body nude?
She was looking pretty good tonight. I'm not gonna lie.
I liked it. And she crushed Brie Bella. She caught her in the sharpshooter in like the 2
for about 5 minutes, if that.
Yeah, it was bad.
But it doesn't really. That's the thing I don't like about it.
Paige is supposed to heel.
Matches
why is Paige?
Yeah. And the thing is, having divas matches for the sake of having divas matches, it just doesn't do it for me. Lead into something. Even if this starts a bigger feud going into WrestleMania, the problem is you had the Submission Squad or whatever the hell they're called. You have 2 or 3 of them who are now mega heels. Pretty much.
If you made it a bigger deal, would you be raising the stakes?
Would I be what?
Raising the stakes?
I would raise the stakes. I'd raise the stakes for Charlotte. I'd raise the stakes for.
Well,
there's a lot of talent in NXT.
Let's raise the stakes right now. Courtesy of boy Matt Militant. You're gonna like this. Here we go. Listen to this.
My worry and my tears, and why I keep on going, getting going while I'm here, and why I never give up, never to surrender. All my work and all my faith that doing what it takes, raising the stakes. raising the stakes, and I'm not gonna stop until I'm through. That's why I'm raising the stakes.
How do you feel about that?
This is raising the stakes. This is definitely raising the stakes. However,
not the next big thing. Can you not hear the talent through your airwaves?
dude, I'm thinking he is the second coming of Eminem.
He actually has another song called "The Future Is Made," but I will not put anyone through that. But he's everywhere. He's all over the internet. Just put his name in, you'll hear him. But they should raise the stakes in the Divas division because I really...
It's really going nowhere. They had three big factions that could have been the next big thing, and they could have had an awesome WrestleMania. And they've, I don't want to say lazy booked it, but they've turned half the division. I mean, Paige is now a heel. Charlotte's now a heel. Sasha Banks, I don't know what the hell she is. She hasn't been on TV in a while. But, like, they're not really factions anymore. It's always, like, just, like, two people come out or just one person comes out with, like, somebody else.
What I understand, though, is, like, why are all, like, and again, I don't want to bring this up, but, like I watched Bayley versus Nia Jax. It was an awesome match. I watched Alexa Bliss versus Bayley. It was an awesome match. I watched Emma versus Asuka, and it was an awesome match. Why are the NXT women's matches all good, and then when I watch women's wrestling on WWE, it's terrible? I don't get that. Like, I thought Paige versus Charlotte was very, very good. And that was a very good feud. And I think anything with Sasha Banks is good. But I'm confused on why it just doesn't translate on WWE TV. Do you know why?
I don't think they spend enough time leading up to this. Whereas I've started to get into NXT, and like I watched, they had a Royal Rumble for the number one contendership on, I guess it was last Wednesdays or Thursdays, whatever thing. It was, I think, the 13th. So whatever, they had a Royal Rumble, and they actually had segments like where you don't even have it with WWE, where you have every single competitor talking about why they're going to win the Royal Rumble. And you know what? Or I'm sorry, the Battle Royal. But I mean, it was literally like, I remember those days where you have like Hacksaw Jim Duggan. You know he's not going to win, but he's going to have like his 30-second spot talking about how he's going to win and why he's going to win. And you don't have that with WWE. And I don't like that. I think that you should have it. I think that everybody, I mean, it's great to say they're contenders, great Vince McMahon says they're contenders, unless you cut promos saying it. I like those promos because it makes me feel like Heath Slater, hey, you know what? Deep down inside, he really does believe he's going to win.
I'm with you.
But I hate what they're doing to the Divas division because they're just, like you said, this was just lazy booking. I mean, we could have booked Charlotte and Becky Lynch a month ago, a couple weeks ago, and it was literally Becky Lynch baiting Ric Flair into accepting a challenge for her daughter. They didn't need to be sitting ringside for that. They didn't need to do that. The problem was they didn't book the match ahead of time. So it literally forced them to put Ric Flair where he basically looks like an idiot and looks like he's working against his daughter.
Well, I mean, I don't know. He took the challenge for his daughter, you know, and that was the deal.
But his daughter wasn't happy about it. I mean, that was the thing that sort of threw me off. I mean, they should have either booked it ahead of time as a rematch, or they should have said it ahead of time. Versus, I mean, you're looking at it's 10 o'clock the Monday before the pay-per-view, and okay, we don't have a women's match booked. Now let's book this on these shaky pretense.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know why she wouldn't want to take the match, though.
No, I don't think she didn't want to take the match. I just didn't like the fact that it waited till the last minute to book it. I think they should have either said, okay, you know, Charlotte, you have to take the match, or this should have been a match that was accepted a week or two ago by Charlotte, or even by her father. But, I mean, do it a week or two ago. Don't do it 10 o'clock at night before the pay-per-view, because it looks like exactly what happened. The pay-per-view hasn't been overbooked. There were like 2 matches booked, Or actually, I think there was only one match booked. I think it was Owens and Ambrose before tonight. I mean, there were a couple things rumored, but it was really that match. The only match that was booked was Ambrose and Owens in the last man standing match. There's no women's championship match. There was no tag team match. There was no Del Rio versus Kalisto match. And yeah, I just thought it was just sort of last minute booking where you've had a month plus to start booking these matches, and I get where the Owens and Ambrose match, okay, that's been good booking, and really looking forward to that, because it's going to hopefully be either end of the feud or something that will extend it into WrestleMania, where it could be the show-stealing match of the pay-per-view.
Well,
but everything else just got lazy booked at the last minute.
Yeah, I think the Owens-Ambrose match is going to be awesome. We know that for sure.
Yeah, I mean they're both workers, and I mean Owens for his limits. I mean it doesn't limit him in the ring. I mean he'll still do the flips. He'll still do the high flying stuff. He'll still one of the greatest heels in WWE. But I mean everything else. I mean Kalisto Del Rio, whatever. Becky Lynch, Charlotte. I mean you literally did it an hour before the show went off the air. I mean, how hard would this have been to put some build up before?
Well, you know what's on my mind? Is Killer Kev online? Producer extraordinaire.
Killer Kev.
I have a question for Killer Kev.
Go ahead. I'll try to answer as best I can.
He posted a video of a dog helping another dog that got hit by a car, it looked like.
Oh, this video.
Yes, I did.
Do you know, did that dog live, the other one?
That, I don't know.
If he saved that other dog, that would be a great story.
Well, even the part on the video that honestly got to me was at the very end. His comrade was fallen, and he's still there trying to encourage him to just get back up.
I know.
Killer Kev, not to play devil's advocate, but I'm going to here. It would be like if myself and Angry Tensai were out like a night of intense drinking, and let's just say this never happens, but let's say I have way too much to drink and I just face plant in the street, and in face planting in the street I get blood on individuals I shouldn't get blood on, and they're pissed off, want to kill me. I would expect Angry Tensai to be there to basically protect my near corpse from dying. So I don't necessarily say
yeah, but not everybody's like that.
No, you're right, but I mean, I don't know. I think that saying that dogs have no soul, or dogs have a soul unlike humans. I mean, if a dog gets hit in front of me or near me, that's absolutely horrible, but it's not my...
Yeah, but dude...
I don't know. I'm not going to necessarily stop my car and get out and try to give dogs CPR. I mean, number one, it's not my dog. Number two, I don't know...
I think you're missing a couple points, Vic. It's not about you. It's about...
I usually am.
First, that the animal helped the other animal, which is cool. And I think we've seen other videos like that, like the cat that was like, hurt its leg in the road and the dog pulls the cat back to safety. I saw one like that too, which was really cool, in middle of super traffic, and he saves the cat. But this one was interesting because what really is pathetic about it is right where the dog is helping the other dog get up, some asshole, which gets back to my point 2 weeks ago about the people on Facebook, congratulations to the Boston Red Sox! Like the asshole that thinks that they're important on Facebook because they have to post everything, or these morons that you see out that take selfies or reading their texts while they're walking through the mall because they're more important than everybody else. This asshole was videoing this and not helping the dog, dude. What is that?
Well, have you ever owned a dog?
Yes.
You know the old phrase of you don't want to back a dog into a corner?
Yes.
You don't want to fuck with a dog when it's injured either. And in this case, just bystander on the street, you don't want to try to necessarily get in there because he's just a guy on the street. He's not prepared.
You can pick him up. I'm saying he should divert traffic, though.
Well, I mean, we don't get to see the full situation and what was going on. That may have been the safest thing that bystander could have done.
I guess.
You know, I mean, as far as we know, I mean, you know, we don't know. He may have already called the police or animal control or something to come help with it.
Or it could have been a she, and she can't pick up the dogs.
Yeah, and you don't want to try to pick an animal up because the way the other dog is acting, he'd probably lash out at you. I mean,
yeah.
but still, the video does make it still makes its point. The caption on the video was, "The more I learn about animals, the more I like them better than humans."
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm telling you, I am seriously thinking about leaving all social media forever. I'll tell you specifically why. And
Dave Eric's LinkedIn page.
I don't get it. And I just don't get it. Like, to me, I heard a priest say this. And I think anyone no matter what, whether we're talking about wrestling or anything, I heard a priest say this, that the one thing that the priest likes about social media is generally it's like the good news. Like, people are, talking about their day, or, they're into fitness, or, they're trying to spread their message of like, whatever, I'm on a diet, or my kids did this, or I was in school and I learned this. It's like kind of like the good news, right? Like, and when you watch the news, it's like all bad stuff. Well, here's what's going on specifically over like the last year, and it was always there, but people are getting like super political on social media, and it's just pathetic. Like, once again, if you're gonna get political on social media, you once again think that you're important. Like, it's about you. Like, half the country is Democrat, half the country is Republican. Fine. I honestly, dude, I give two shits who wins. I really do. I mean, I'm gonna get fucked either way. I'm gonna get killed either way. So, for me to alienate half the people in the world, I don't want to do that. I don't think that's a good idea. I'd rather not piss anyone off and just see pictures of their kids, find out what they did in the gym, and see pictures of the attractive girls I know when they put on bikinis in the summer. That's what I want to see on my social media. That's it! If I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. And that's why
that's a good thing, because I think in speaking about this, we have our own political views. Myself, Buzzy, and Killer Kev have separate political views.
But you know my views, but I would never, ever throw them in somebody's face. That's not cool. It's not cool. It's not cool at all.
Yeah.
It bothers me. So,
and I don't know.
What I like about the story, though, is it's something good. It's like, but within something good, there's something bad. I don't like somebody videoing it. I don't know, man. I'm seeing a lot of bad stuff in humanity lately, and I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't know. I just usually try to, like, whenever I go on, like, MARTA, which is, like, the public transportation, I go down to Peachtree Corners Mall, or whatever that place is, and whenever I get onto MARTA, I always just put my phone on video and just start yelling "World Star" and just videotaping everybody, and just waiting for somebody to get in a fight.
You know what? I like posting. I'm on Facebook at the moment. Somebody posts, "Would you stay in the original Exorcist house for $500,000 for 1 week?" You know what? That's cool. I want to see a post like that. There's nothing bad about that. Look at, here's Killer Kev posting a picture of chicken soup. I like that. Like, there's nothing bad here. This is the stuff I want to say. This is the stuff I want to say. There's one here, a guy, he coaches a track team, his runner won an award. That's awesome. Oh, here's some asshole talking about how the Republicans and their taxes. Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing, dude? Like, why are you posting that shit? Like, what?
Just watch a debate and just have you're not going to change anybody's opinion on it. I'm sorry. Nobody's ever actually said, "Hey, I'm going to change." I mean, Dave Zuloff, he puts together some good arguments on stuff, but I'm not changing my vote because Dave Zuloff thinks that Republicans are horrible.
You know what I want to see somebody post? Who they think is going to win the Royal Rumble. That's what I want to say.
I know who's going to win the Royal Rumble.
Who?
I'm gonna play this video clip right now.
I hope it's a dog.
This guy is gonna win the Royal Rumble.
The leader of Goldman Sachs is a billionaire who comes to Congress and tells us we should cut Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. Secretary Clinton, and you're not the only one, so I don't mean to just point the finger at you. You've received over $600,000 in speaking fees from Goldman Sachs in 1 year. I find it very strange that a major financial institution that pays $5 billion in fines for breaking the law, not one of their executives is prosecuted, while kids who smoke marijuana get a jail sentence.
Time, Andrea.
Well,
I think Larry David is going to win the Royal Rumble.
That was not Larry David.
He sure sounds like
Bernie Sanders?
That's right. Number 30. Bernie Sanders will win the Royal Rumble.
I've heard about him and I've read about him. That's probably the first time I've ever actually listened to him talk.
he literally sounds like Larry David, and he looks like Larry David.
They are brothers from separate mothers.
That's the first time I've ever heard him talk. He sounds like Joe Biden.
Yeah, that guy.
I don't know. I think people love Bernie Sanders, A, because he's not Hillary Clinton, B, because he's sort of like the Robin Hood of political characters, like almost socialist, I want to say.
Why are we talking about this? I don't care who wins. I care who wins the Royal Rumble. And I think the Royal Rumble...
I care a lot more about wrestling than that.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about politics. I can't stand politics. I have no interest in politics.
Yeah, I mean, nothing's going to change whether you have Democrat, Republican, Independent, unless Donald Trump wins, in which case it'll be fucking awesome.
I want to talk about the Royal Rumble, because we're on Raw Reaction, and I do think the Royal Rumble winner, unfortunately, is going to be Roman Reigns, especially now that he's Drew number 1.
I didn't like this segment at all. I mean, I get the idea, okay, say he's number 1, but that was sort of tacky, choosing like 5 different balls out of there. And what I really didn't like was McMahon trying to start up almost his own "Who" chant, where he basically says like 3 or 4 times after Stephanie says something, he says "Who," and I don't know if that was his attempt to start a new chant for at the Royal Rumble after somebody gets announced. Are they going to say "Who"? I didn't really get the idea of it. It just sounded really stupid, and he sounded really corny, like 3 or 4 times.
Dude, they did tater tots 4 weeks ago. Like, what do you expect? It's corny. It's stupid. They need to change shit up, man. It's terrible, man. I'm getting.
They really do. It's not working. Another thing I did not like tonight was we had Titus O'Neil.
What was that match?
R-Truth. It was Titus O'Neil, R-Truth, Neville, and Mark Henry versus the Ascension, Cody Rhodes, and who the heck was that last guy in the match?
O'Neil, Henry, R-Truth, and Neville. And R-Truth, Henry, and R-Truth, Henry, and O'Neil were backstage talking about how they have a chance to live the dream. Like Martin Luther King.
There's one quote that was very uncomfortable, and it was like something about like bury him or something, or buried him. And I'm just like, wait a second. It's like, did they really just say that?
I don't get what they were going. Kev, I mean, what was that about? Like, why did they have the three of them talk about Martin Luther King, and then White Neville walks in? Like, I thought that was really weird.
It was. It absolutely was. It's just.
Well, it wasn't so much the White Neville walk in. Okay, I get that. Like, hey, you know what? Neville hasn't said anything in a while. Let's put him on. That's fine. But like during their segment, that's really what was weird. Like they said something about like, yeah, let's bury him or let's bury it or something like that. And I'm just like,
I don't think that really is a big deal. Rather than like the fact that you remember this is scripted. This isn't back in the locker room, like in real. So somebody wrote this segment.
You know, you've seen the meme that's got Captain Picard and Lieutenant Riker just both face palming at the same time.
Yeah.
That immediately popped in my head when this segment came up. It's like, Jesus Christ. We're really doing this in 2016?
It's just inappropriate.
There's some quote in there that I think it was, what's his name, Titus said, that just had me just really like, oh man, it's like, did it really just go there? And just wasn't, it just almost was like, just, like Kevin said, this is 2016, like, do you really need to do that? It wasn't even cheap heat. It was just, okay, just say it for sort of shock value. It wasn't well thought out for a very rehearsed line.
At this point, why don't you just have the New Day march through in a Black Lives Matter protest?
They had their own funeral procession for a trumpet named Francine, a trombone named Francine, which was the fact that was not the most offensive part of the MLK Junior Day show. That's questionable in and of itself.
Why?
I don't know. I mean, they were sort of celebrating the life of a trombone versus, I mean, you saw them all dressed up in sort of in mourning and whatever.
You know what? I'll back Vic up on that. I mean, I understand they're following up on what happened.
They were mourning a trombone.
I understand they're following up on what happened on Raw last week, but I mean, come on. On Martin Luther King Day, on a day where we're going to celebrate somebody who was slain, no. I mean, they could have waited a week. Why did you do that shit on SmackDown? I mean, you got enough fucking space to fill 2 hours over there. Go do it on fucking SmackDown, or post it as a WWE.com exclusive backstage afterwards. That would have worked out fine. But they just weren't thinking here. Jesus Christ.
You know what it is? It's time for Kevin Dunn to step down and Vince McMahon to step down. They're the problems. Like, it is not cool to be like what is it? What was that, homophobic and like blatantly racist? Like, it's not cool. Like, I'm getting tired of it. Like, it's just stupid and it's not funny. You know what I mean? Like, who are they appealing to? It's almost like it's this sick perversion these two guys have. They entertain themselves with their own show, and they're losing money by doing stuff like this. It's stupid. You're taking away your own money and alienating your own audience. Why? I don't get it. I think it's weird. It's just weird.
Yes.
It just doesn't make sense to me. Meanwhile, they have another brand of programming, NXT, that's wide open to anybody, any walk of life, and it's awesome. It's just too bad. It's just
Hey, Anger Time, I got to out there really quick. My two thoughts that I just wanted to go with, in case you weren't paying attention, they said that all 8 of these members of this 8-man tag match were going to be in the Royal Rumble.
Oh no. Really?
Yeah. And did you notice that there was not in the ring at this time? It was literally all 8 of them were just, they got back for a commercial, it was like ding, ding, ding. Like, it was just, I mean, we saw them all backstage for 20 seconds, but there was no, okay, this is who they're facing next. It was just in the ring at this time, and it was Cody Rhodes, Ascension, and who was the 4th member of that team?
It was Cody Rhodes, Tyler Breeze.
Tyler Breeze, that's it. Whatever happened, by the way, what's happened to, Dolph Ziggler? Is he injured, or is he fucking Brie Bella again? Or Nikki Bella again?
No, he's still on. They just had him off TV, but he was on last week briefly.
Oh, you know what? I wanted to bring this up on a show someplace. I'm sorry. I haven't really been watching Raw for like the last month and a half. I've not been watching any WWE programming really. I tuned in tonight just to get the go home show before I did tonight, I decided to watch SmackDown from 2 weeks ago because it was the debut of Mauro Ranallo, and I wanted to see what that's on. But I saw Dolph Ziggler for like the first time in 2 months. The fuck happened to his hair?
What'd they do to him?
He looks like a reject from an 80s hair band now. The fuck is up with this? I mean, I thought he looked
stupid. Jacket now?
I mean, it was stupid enough when he was running around wearing the faux denim biker jacket
That was horrible.
thing, that looks like something Triple H threw away like 10 years ago out of his wardrobe. But, but now we got, seriously, he's got like this big frizzy 80s hair, and he got rid of his MMA style shorts, and he's wearing the long trunks now, and it's, I about threw up in my mouth. What is up?
I don't know. I mean, it was a painful match to watch, and it's more painful to know that these 8 jobbers are going to be in a Royal Rumble, because they're going to be the people who Roman Reigns eliminates first.
What about the Social Outcasts? They're already losing matches. They got killed, all 4 of them, by Big Show.
Yeah, but last week they had their moment, though, last week, with, what's his name?
They're already on the way down, man.
Why didn't?
What were you expecting? I mean, were you expecting them to suddenly become good? I mean, you have the 4 biggest jobbers in WWE, possibly.
I was expecting them to turn around. What were you going to say, Kev?
I was going 4 of them right there next to the Big Show. When Big Show was getting ready to hit the WMD on, what's his face? I don't remember what's his face was in the name. Slater?
Slater was in the ring first.
Yeah, before he got knocked out, why didn't the 3 of them jump in the ring and take out Big Show?
Slater Gator.
Oh yeah, that was just dumb. Well, now that I think about it, I know why. I know why you didn't get the big 3, the 3-on-1 and 4-on-1 beatdown, because that's what the Wyatts did at the end of the show, and that wasn't exciting either.
No. The one thing that had me watching the show because I wanted to see it, and you guys sort of follow this because you follow New Japan, well, you read the dirt sheets, but apparently the Bullet Club is going to be the new thing, and I don't know exactly. I know who is sort of in it, but I don't really know like if they have logos or if they're coming to WWE or whatever. But I'm pretty stoked to see AJ Styles come back. Who else is it? Luke Gallows, is it?
Well, yeah, he's Doc Gallows now.
Yeah, AJ Styles, Luke Gallows / Doc Gallows, the former Festus, the gimmick that we'll just ignore. We'll call him Doc Gallows and Luke Gallows because we remember him. And Machine Gun Carl Anderson, who very rarely wrestles in America. He's spent almost all of his career in Japan. For the little bit he spent in the United States, he was known in the Midwestern independents as Chad Allegra. I actually got to saw him wrestle a couple times. Really fabulous guy. And then,
really Japanese guy.
Yeah, and his name I just completely blanked.
Nakamura is not in the Bullet Club, though.
No, he's not. But that was who AJ Styles wrestled for their Intercontinental title, a couple weeks ago.
Well, with the Bullet Club coming in, if I'm understanding this correctly, AJ Styles is the one that replaced Finn Balor and basically took his spot. So I mean, they're not going to be together, I wouldn't think.
From what I've read, the plan actually is put AJ Styles immediately on Raw. Matter of fact, it's highly suggested, including even hinted by AJ himself, that he will be in the Royal Rumble, and the rest of them will be at NXT.
So then the other 2 guys will go with Balor. And I wouldn't be surprised if they put Hideo Itami with them, even though that's not how it was in New Japan. But it just seems like it would be logical to add him as an additional member, potentially, given his...
I feel like the WWE needs a nice infusion of NXT / outside stars, a la AJ Styles.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the infusion will help, but it's not going to be the end all be all. And I actually think it's exciting and it's going to change things up for a while. But I read an article Mark Madden wrote, I believe yesterday, that I thought was pretty interesting. And he was talking about Bruno Sammartino and how today's IWC would never allow a champion to be like Bruno Sammartino because they would say he's burying all the talent. But it was funny because he was talking about how like when Bruno finally lost it, there was like such a shock, and it made the championship worth so much because the title moved so little. And then he talked about kind of like how the streak was so important with Undertaker and why it was so important. And he, at the end of the article, he said, "But none of this matters. That we'll never see a champion hold the title over 1 year because we have the Bullet Club coming." And then he goes, "Well, it doesn't matter. We'll never have the age of kayfabe again because Bullet Club's coming, and we never have to worry about something like the Undertaker streak or anything great like that happening again because the Bullet Club's coming." And basically, what he was doing is just shitting on the fans, saying, this is just a new thing they're going to build up, and they'll be over it in 6 months. I hope that's not the case, but the IWC has kind of ruined wrestling. I hate to say it. It's true. It's too bad.
Yeah. I feel like we're the voices of reason with this, of the internet wrestling community. I feel like we are the voices of reason. I feel like we're a happy medium between.
I agree.
Angry Marks and WWE. I feel like if Vince McMahon knew what was good for Vince McMahon, he would be knocking my door in the next 15 minutes to offer myself and you and Killer Kev jobs booking for WWE.
I like this, though. Listen to this. So this is when Ivan Koloff ended San Martino's crazy run. Koloff's title win was memorable for the crowd response. It was eerie. MSG went deathly quiet. Some of San Martino's fans cried. Then as Koloff started to leave the ring, things got surly. A riot was a strong possibility. A riot was also a strong possibility had Pedro Morales not beaten Koloff 3 weeks later. But Morales won, and San Martino presented him with the belt. And the Earth was back on its kayfabe axis, because that's how serious fans took it. Obviously, none of you care about this because it didn't involve the Bullet Club. But it's a shame that the current generation of wrestling fans never experienced true kayfabe. The closest was Brock Lesnar ending The Undertaker's WrestleMania streak. Kayfabe allowed the fans to get lost in the deception. Even those who knew didn't really know. Some legit believed, and that was part of the show. Trust me, this is a lot more fun. But hey, Bullet Club, that's all that matters. That's fucking awesome. Go Mark Madden. Because it shows all these fucking internet kids have ruined wrestling. I love it. That's awesome. That is the best shit ever written right there. I love Bullet Club. Everything's going to get fixed because we got Bullet Club coming in. I'm sure it'll be cool, but, come on. Is it going to change wrestling? I don't think so. Nobody wants to see the NWO back, but here we go. Here we
are. That's the thing. I almost compare I'll compare the Bullet Club to the Radicals, maybe, where you have Perry Saturn, Benoit. You know what? I mean, they're good, but they're littler guys. They're not like Kevin Nash or Vince McMahon gets his.
Well, no, it's gonna work. It's gonna work because at the end of the day, Finn Balor's in it, so it's gonna work. But never forget, the Bullet Club is just a cheap NWO ripoff. Whether the internet fans want to admit that or not, they've said it themselves. They are an homage to the NWO. Even their colors are. Even their signs are.
That's true. They are, but they're not a cheap ripoff in that they are not caliber people. The caliber of the wrestlers in the Bullet Club, I will argue, better than any incarnation of NWO ever.
Well,
yeah, you can say that, but you know what?
But
there's a difference between having.
They will not draw the money NWO did, and I'm right about that. Never.
They're not all established superstars. I mean, Finn Balor getting there. AJ Styles, he was good in TNA.
Fuck that.
Other couple guys.
It's all waste time. NWO made wrestling cool. The wrestling was never cool, except for a 3-year period from 1996 to 1999. And you know why that was? Because everybody thought the NWO was the coolest thing in the world. And I don't care what anybody says. The height of pro wrestling was NWO. Forget if they could work a match. Nothing ever drew more fans and money than the NWO. Am I right or am I wrong? There is no way Finn Balor and fucking Festus with his cream jelly donut in his ass that he rubs into Zack Ryder's face for Bill DeMott is going to draw what the NWO did. Sorry, it's not going to happen. It's not gonna happen.
Yeah, I will second that. I will second that. The late '90s was the pinnacle of wrestling, of televised wrestling. It was the pinnacle. I mean, you can have better matches. You can have better. I don't know if you have a better invasion angle type thing, but I mean, shit, that was pretty damn good, and it was pretty cool.
I know what I know, Vic, and here's what I'll say about Bullet Club. Finn Balor's awesome, and he's going to be the guy in WWE. I have no doubt about that. He is the man. Okay, I'm fine with that. I admit Kevin Owens, all these guys who I never saw before are great. But I know what AJ Styles can do. I saw the Claire Lynch angle. I watched TNA for a decade. He's good, but he's not going to change wrestling. I know Luke Gallows is not going to change wrestling. You tell me whatever you want to tell me. Luke Gallows is not going to change WWE. He's not. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. These guys are not the guys that were being pumped up by everybody on Angry Marks networks for years. I was like, these guys are not Cesaro. These guys are not Kevin Owens. This is different. This is.
You know what? I'll say the same for Luke Gallows. I will say the same. AJ Styles. I have hopes for him. I think he could be a Dolph Ziggler mid to upper card wrestler who, you know what? It doesn't take that much to go from a Dolph Ziggler to a Daniel Bryan. So I'm not gonna write him off. I love his wrestling style, love his wrestling abilities. Finn Balor, obviously great as well. I think it just sort of depends who takes off when they get there. I mean, Gallows, I think is sort of dog crap, and will probably get turned on or probably turn on somebody and just be attacking mid-carder or a tag team partner for somebody. But I think that I think AJ Styles, he could be at the very least like a Chris Jericho caliber wrestler. Maybe not hold or definitely not hold the championship as much as Jericho, but I mean he's an established upper mid card wrestler.
Finn Balor,
who I can see doing.
Finn Balor.
Yeah, Finn Balor. By the way, I've actually started watching based on you and Killer Kev's opinion suggestions for the last year or two. I've started over the last month or so watching NXT. I have a couple of thoughts on it. If you and Killer Kev would indulge me for a couple of moments. Finn Balor, who the hell paints him? And what kind of paint does he use? Because he has like a freaking skyline of the back of London, or of London on his back, with like a setting sun and like teeth and shit like that.
Awesome. That
you can wrestle a 30-minute match and still have it. Yet Sting has some crappy white face paint on that's sweated off in the first 5 minutes of the match. Like seriously, like Sting needs to talk to Finn Balor's guy.
Vic,
because apparently
you're missing one of the biggest subjects we've ever had here on Raw Reaction with nonsense. Bottom line is, it's about drawing, it's about this Bullet Club, whatever you want to do. If WWE wants to get back in the mainstream, you want to know what to do? I can make it very simple for you. You take this hot theme of the Bullet Club. You take Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows, Finn Balor, okay? Whatever you want to do with them. At WrestleMania or at the Royal Rumble. At the Royal Rumble, you have John Cena come out with one fucking arm. You have The Undertaker pull number 30. You have these three guys come run into the ring. They dump Roman Reigns out with Undertaker's help. Undertaker, John Cena, heel, Bullet Club, they walk out with the title. They show up to the next mixed martial arts UFC show on TV and get thrown out legit. Legit get thrown out. Start shit, the five of them at ringside. Go on the Jimmy Fallon show the next night. You now have the biggest fucking thing in wrestling. The three Bullet Club members, heel Undertaker, heel John Cena. There you go.
Wow. What about
have them
Mr.
get thrown out
CM
of
Punk?
the NBA game the next night. Have them legit get arrested. That is how you go mainstream. People will follow. People will fucking love it. That's what you.
What about what's his name? CM Punk. Did he get involved instead of Undertaker?
They could physically go after him. I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying that it doesn't have to be the Undertaker. I'm just saying John Cena's got to be in it. He's got to be the Hulk Hogan of it. He's got to go heel, and he's got to go.
Listen, you sort of need a holy shit moment.
What do you
where you say?
How do you think that would go?
I like it. I don't know about the Undertaker. I feel like the Undertaker is almost at the same point.
You need
where he just needs to be retired and put in the Hall of Fame. But I get what you're saying.
You got to draw the casual fan. There's no way to do it. But like for this Bullet Club thing to really draw money, right? It's not about the people in it. It's about the whole idea of it, right? Wrestling is like at death's door. Doing something like this, the John Cena heel move is the only big move left. Every big return has happened. Every big match has happened. There's nothing left to do except turn John Cena heel. And now there's this big buzz off this group of free agents. We haven't seen this big of a buzz in a decade for something new coming in. I think you take these two big things, you put them together, and you have them do something outside the wrestling world huge. That's how you get people to watch.
What if you replace Undertaker with CM Punk?
He's not in wrestling, but think about that though. Think of it UFC 200. They wait to debut the Bullet Club. What if at UFC 200, literally WWE gets a hold of tickets and puts John Cena and those 3 Bullet Club guys in the front row, and they cause a scene and publicly get arrested? You don't think that would be the coolest thing? Everybody would want a piece of the Bullet Club. Kev, what do you think?
I could agree with that.
What? It's never been done. It's totally different. Now, I get it. It is a huge sacrifice by the individuals to have to publicly get arrested or put themselves in harm's way, but my God, that's an invasion. They would have made a scene at UFC. Like that, they would be like, that's hardcore. That's hard. Or put Brock Lesnar with him. Forget you. It could be any, you gotta have the one mainstream guy with the theme, and then it'll take off. Cause I agree with you guys that the work's there. I mean, anything Finn Balor's on is gonna work for the wrestling element. But that's what
I think AJ Styles, I think the same thing. I don't necessarily think he's
I'm not done. Hold on. And I want to be clear about this because I don't want people to think I'm regressing to comments I've made in the past. I do think today's wrestling is the best wrestling there's ever been. Wrestling, not entertainment. You have these guys like Cesaro, Kevin Owens, Dean Ambrose. They can do all this crazy shit, all this awesome stuff. But it's not worth anything if nobody's watching it. And that is where something like this helps all those guys bring to what WCW was in like 1998, when you had guys like Jericho, Benoit, Malenko, Eddie Guerrero, the guys that nobody would ever watch them. However, the NWO brought them to us to watch all these super talented people. And there's all these people in the world that, like me, when I was blind, they never got to see Cesaro. They still have never gotten to see Cesaro wrestle. They've never seen Kevin Owens wrestle. They don't know who any of these guys are because they haven't watched wrestling in 10 years. We got to get those fans back. That's what will make wrestling. Go ahead. I'm done. I said everything I need to say tonight.
All right. Well, like I said, I'm still impressed with the caliber of paint on Finn Balor. I don't know. I seriously, like, he wrestled like a 40-minute match, and he still has the skyline of London on his back and teeth on his chest/face. Where Sting goes out and half-assed a 15-minute match, and he's sweating paint chips off in the first 3 minutes of the match. I don't know where the miscommunication is or where the disconnect is, but there's something wrong there.
Sting doesn't care.
No, you're probably right, and he probably has the same face paint he's had for the last 40 years. But that was just something that caught me. But yeah, his fucking face paint stays on really good. I was pretty impressed watching him. I watched a couple of his matches on NXT. Sort of getting into it. My second big problem with NXT is the women's division. They have Bayley won, was it the Iron Woman match against, was it Sasha Banks or Killer Kev? Who was it that she won against?
Yeah, it was Sasha Banks.
Yeah, it was Sasha Banks. She won the Iron Woman match, 30-minute match, ended up winning it in less 5 seconds, as would be expected. And after the match, Triple H comes out with flowers for her. Like a bouquet of pink flowers. I've never seen anything like that before, and it just had me really scratching my head and upset.
We did talk about that, about how we were on one of the Raw reactions about how, like, as great as both Bayley, Sasha Banks matches are, they almost cheapened everything they did by the crying and all that stuff, and it's almost like they're honoring themselves. They need to be careful with that. I mean, I get it because it's more of a developmental show, but they need to be careful that does not become part of their personas at the next level, because imagine Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns and WrestleMania hugging and crying. I mean, it would with flowers. It wouldn't be a good scene.
Yeah, that would be, as much as we have the Bullet Club turning things around and making things spectacular, that would be the absolute
but it's like
all of wrestling.
Yeah, it's all about the struggle and stuff. Like everybody knows Benoit waited like 20 years and like he lost every big freaking match, and same with Eddie Guerrero, and like that was cool at WrestleMania when they had that moment. Like they earned it. Like, and I'm not saying Bayley.
That was probably the best.
It was awesome
ending to a WrestleMania.
Definitely.
Because it was guys who literally they put in their time in WCW, they came over to WWE, and they put another 5 years in WWE before they got into the main event type stuff.
WrestleMania 20. I mean, there's so much to say about that main event and last scene. It just shows how great Jericho is. How great Benoit was in the ring, and it showed just how unbelievable Triple H was at the time, that he sold the way he sold, and the brilliance of Shawn Michaels in that match. If you don't remember Shawn Michaels in that match, go watch that match. Shawn Michaels was incredible in that main event. Incredible.
Can we watch that match can I watch that match right now on WWE Network?
It's unedited.
Really?
Yep. It's one of the best matches I've ever seen. It is the best triple threat match of all time. There's never.
I didn't. They actually had it on because of the artist formerly known as Chris Benoit.
The whole thing. It's actually the whole thing is there. Even the pre-scene where Jericho or Benoit's getting talked up by Eddie Guerrero's there too. So that's there. Yeah. The ending segment's there, and the whole match is there.
Oh wow! I'm gonna have to. I might just go put that on right now. That's actually.
They don't like advertise it in the like write up of the event, but when you go watch it, it's all there.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that was one of the better endings to WrestleMania, and I almost didn't necessarily appreciate it as much as I should have being there.
Imagine
that card was stacked.
Oh
that
yeah.
Card bottom. I mean, they had Brock Lesnar versus Goldberg, and they got booed out of the fucking building.
Well, there was a lot of circumstance behind that, but I'll throw this out there though. You know, if you built up this Bullet Club thing like we talked about to get it in the mainstream, there's no reason Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, and Cesaro one day couldn't have that same match at a WrestleMania like that match. I mean, there's no reason. They have all the talent to do it. Those guys, especially Owens, can tell a story. I mean, it's all there. They just got to figure out how to get the audience.
Storyline. That's the thing. They need to do storylines. Like you said, mainstream media. They need if it needs to happen, a Cena heel turn.
They need to stop the 50% booking too. I mean, literally let these guys go on tears where you keep them away from each other and they just beat everybody. You know, pick your 3 or 4 top guys and you make them your top guys. They don't.
I mean, shit. Somehow Titus O'Neil's won every match this year that has been televised, I think, which doesn't make sense to me, considering unless they're going to give him a mega push at some point.
Yeah. Well, we're way over time, guys. We should wrap this up, but it was good. It was good. Definitely debating tonight for sure.
All right, give me your. Let's see. Do you want to say top 1 pick or top 2 picks or top 3 picks for Rumble?
I have one. I mean, I think I would say a dark horse pick and my win pick. You talked about Kevin Owens earlier. I think if they do in fact put him in the match, he's my dark horse to win it. I don't think Brock Lesnar would win the Royal Rumble. I just don't see it. I think whoever he's going to fight at WrestleMania is going to cause him to be eliminated. I think his match is going to get set up at the Royal Rumble because I don't see him working Fastlane. So therefore, the winner of the Royal Rumble will be Roman Reigns. Period.
Yeah, you know what? Unfortunately, I think it's going to be Roman Reigns. I'm going to go with Kevin Owens just because
I love it.
I think he's the most logical choice outside of Roman Reigns and outside of Lesnar, and I love Lesnar. I hate the fact that Lesnar's in it. I'd rather see him wrestle Big Show right now and get earn title shot at Fastlane or something. I hate that he's in the Royal Rumble, but who knows? He could survive. If he could survive or make it interesting, then good, go with it. But yeah, I think Owens wins it. I think he'll lose his first match against Ambrose in a really good match, and then just somehow pick a maybe 25-30, come out and just out hard everybody else.
Makes sense to me. I can see it happening.
Killer Kev, you got any picks for us, brother?
It's going to be Roman Reigns, and I'm going to be happy with that. I'm going to be fine.
2 years in a row.
Yep.
I'm not against Roman Reigns winning it, but I just feel like they've almost booked themselves into almost too much of a corner. Almost like with Daniel Bryan, it was almost unrealistic that he won the WrestleMania first or the lead-in match to make a triple threat match and then the next match. Almost felt like he was too much from an overcome, and I feel like they're trying to do it the same where it could be perceived as, okay, he wins that, but in reality, is he really going to win it? Going through 30 other guys, 29 other guys? Probably not.
Well, we'll see. All right, guys. Well, that's it for tonight's show.
Awesome show, guys.
I am the Angry Tensai. Thank you. We'll see you next week.